So I've said twice now that I reserve the right to panic over the YouTube ad boycott if things get worse. Well, things have gotten a little worse since last time I spoke about this, but I still don't think panic is warranted. Even if my YouTube revenue fell to zero, which it hasn't, at least not yet, I don't think panic is the right response. I think panic should be reserved for situations like this, or this, but not this. But I'll come back to my personal situation later. It's actually been relatively quiet on the ad boycott front, not many people talking about it, but in the last few days there's been quite a few videos made by big content creators on this topic. Here's Vlogbrothers from last week.
A few weeks ago, some inflammatory articles are posted about how major brands are being advertised on top of very vile YouTube videos. A bunch of advertisers, fearing backlash, removed their ads entirely from YouTube, and during this period, every YouTuber saw a decrease in revenue. Also, Google's valuation dropped by like $750 million in a day.
No big, it's fine.
Now, YouTube has a few different systems that put content into buckets. They have a manual bucket that's like hand-picked channels, like Crash Course, where they can say, this is good, advertisers, it's safe, go here, it's very expensive. And then they have an algorithmic bucket that's like, no ads on any of this stuff ever, because it's about marijuana smoking or whatever. And then there's a middle area, where it's confusing and no one knows how it works at all. But what we do know is after this hullabaloo, all of the algorithms got tightened. So while some channels have rebounded, a lot of channels went down and then went down further as they were put into buckets which weren't getting as many ads. This has really squeezed creators who are making content that's maybe good, but not like super happy family fun time stuff.
So maybe that's why we haven't heard that much, because a lot of channels have recovered. But unfortunately for myself, and I suspect and know channels like mine in the news and politics space fall into the latter category. But it's not just news and politics. What if you're a slightly edgy comedy channel? Here's H3H3.
The problem is that you get no info. There's no like report like, okay, this video that you made got demonetized because you did this.
Yes.
You get no info.
As usual, YouTube is the worst communicator ever. So they used to demonetize your videos and you would at least understand and have a chance to appeal. So what they're doing now is brands, they give them categories like controversial, profane. There's no nuance. There's no subtlety. So if a brand sees something as controversial, they click off it, right? So they don't tell you, right, that you've been flagged as controversial.
The video is monetized, basically.
Yeah.
When you look at the stats, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. But they don't show you the underneath tags that says this video is controversial, violent, sexual, whatever, that would make like 80% of the brands click off it, which is what's been happening on our past like 7 videos. So it says monetize, but we're at this point where we're seriously making 16 cents on every dollar that we used to make.
So a couple of things. As they said, it used to be simple to know if your videos were running ads or not. If it was green, it was all good. Here's the first page of my video manager with videos all the way back to March 23rd. All of them monetized. But that doesn't mean anything anymore. Ethan said they're making about 16 cents for every dollar they were previously making. A couple of weeks back, I showed this chart, which had my revenue per 1,000 watch minutes down as much as 79%. That staged a little recovery, but more recently is down 84%. And in terms of per 1,000 views, down 86%. So that matches the H3H3 experience. But some are doing even worse than that. David Pacman has seen his revenue all but disappear.
The last update was from April 11th. At that point, we were 12 days into the ad crisis, and we were basically making nothing on YouTube, which represents 40 to 50% of our revenue. Crisis, existential threat to the show. So then what happened during vacation? April 12th and 13th, we saw a slight uptick in YouTube ad revenue, and I started thinking, Pat, we're out of the woods. YouTube is fixing it. It's all going to happen. It's going to be fantastic. But then April 14th through the present, it has fallen off a cliff again. Now, for comparison, before the crisis, usually for every 10 videos watched, 6 ads were shown, right? So, one person watches 10 videos or 2 people watch 5. For 10 videos, 6 ads were shown. During the vacation, we were down from 60% to 7% of the videos were showing ads. Also, each video play, each ad play was earning way less than it had been previously. Before I told you that we earned about 1/5 of a penny for each ad that played, that was down to about 1/10 of a penny. So if you do the math, 7% monetization rate, paying half of what it was, means we're at about 3.5% revenue.
So as Pacman said, he used to be getting ads on about 60% of his videos, and that's almost exactly what I was getting. He's now dropped to 7%, and I've dropped to about 10%, but I'm still making about the same I made on each ad. Now I want to go back to the H3H3 video and to an article that Ethan mentioned in Wired. It's actually a very informative piece and very long, so I'll link to it below if you want to read the whole article. I'm just going to pull out a few points. Every day across the nation, people doing work for Google log into their computers and start watching YouTube. They look for violence in videos. They seek out hateful language in video titles. They decide whether to classify clips as offensive or sensitive. They are Google's so-called ads quality raters. Temporary workers hired by outside agencies to render judgments machines still can't make all on their own. And right now, Google appears to need these humans' help urgently. So that's great. Armies of social justice warriors crawling all over your videos looking for anything offensive. So basically YouTube heroes on steroids. Sounds like a regressive's wet dream come true. But it's not just titles and violence they're looking for. Ad raters don't just flag videos as inappropriate. They're asked to make granular assessments of their title and contents, classifying them, for instance, as containing inappropriate language, such as profanity, hate speech, or other, or violence with the subcategories terrorism, war and conflict, death and tragedy, or other. There's also drugs and sex, nudity, with the subcategories abusive, nudity, or other. The system also provides the ad rater with an option for other sensitive content, if, say, someone is sharing extreme political views. Yeah, better watch out for that other category. And what is an extreme political view? To Bernie Sanders, that could be cutting taxes. AdAge recently reported that Google is now allowing clients to opt out of advertising alongside sexually suggestive and sensational and shocking content, as well as content containing profanity and rough language. But is all this frenetic activity worth it? As Google's chief business officer, Philip Schindler, said, Google has scrambled to control the narrative, saying the media has overstated the problem of ads showing up adjacent to offensive videos. Flag videos received less than 1/1000% of the advertiser's total impressions. Google's chief business officer, Philip Schindler, says the issue affected a very, very, very small number of videos. So in other words, a non-problem. But you can't blame Google for overreacting. The advertisers are their lifeblood. It's the advertisers that are acting like fragile snowflakes. So if you're a large company and you want to steer clear of sensitive subjects, then I guess you can just opt out of the news and politics genre altogether. But hold on, you say. That means CNN, the Wall Street Journal, and all the other big media outlets will also lose out. Well, maybe not. Dave Cullen talked about this article in his recent video on the subject, in which Google says it's made updates to its algorithms to surface more authoritative content. So what does that mean? If you're CNN or some other mainstream outlet, you get put on a whitelist of approved authoritative content? Well, at this stage, that's just speculation on my part. So what does this all mean? Well, I think Philip DeFranco summed it up fairly well.
What sucks is, while it does suck for me, it does suck for many big creators out there right now, who it really trashes is the small creator. The large creators are in a position where we can diversify, we have different tactics of ways that we can try and keep things afloat and still grow. But the little guy doesn't get the benefit of that size, does not get the benefit of the really good month where they got excess money that they could put in a safe place. And it does make me really worry about not only the future of the platform, but the future creator. They're coming in at one of the hardest times ever to be who you want to be without having to censor yourself.
And that's right, if you're pulling down a few $1,000s a day, which some of the very large channels are, then you can handle an 80% hit to your YouTube revenue. But a lot of us can't. So in my ongoing attempt to diversify away from YouTube, I'm going to rattle the tin and try and attract some more support on Patreon. Now up to this point, those wonderful individuals who patronize this channel do so because they like the content and they don't get anything in return. So in a bid to get more support, I'm going to start offering a few rewards. So if you donate $1 a month, you'll get access to any exclusive content I make, and if there are any major announcements, you'll hear about it first. If you donate $2, you'll receive the same perks as the $1 level and get a shout out at the end of one of my videos every month. At the $3 level, I'll be doing some giveaways. It will be a choice of one of the books I've talked about here before, or maybe some merch from the IM shop. The choice will be yours, but this reward will be contingent on me reaching at least $500 a month, and that way I can probably manage a giveaway every quarter. And as I get closer to my rather lofty goal of $1,500 a month, I can increase the frequency of those giveaways. And if you donate $5 or more, you'll get all the benefits of the lower tiers and have access to a monthly live stream Q&A where you get to ask the questions. My ISP tells me that I'll be upgraded to a faster internet speed in about 3 or 4 weeks, so I'm aiming to do the first live stream in the second half of May. So that's it for now, but I will endeavour to add higher reward tiers in future. But before I do that, I want to ask you guys, both patrons and potential patrons, what kind of rewards you'd like to see. I'd prefer to offer rewards that you want rather than things that you don't. Anyway, that's all the shilling you'll hear from me for a while. But even if you can't support the channel financially, liking, sharing and commenting on videos all helps the channel. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.